Good afternoon. I'm Spot On Weather Meteorologist Matthew Euler, and we're going to take a look at the long range forecast. And that is starting today, 16 December. So let's take a look at it. All right, we're going to actually start out with next week on Tuesday, 20 December. What we have going on is at this point in time, we have a cold frontal boundary to the south of southeast Virginia. We have a 1,040 millibar high situated over the Ohio River Valley. The air mass at this point in time is fairly seasonable, maybe slightly below normal at that point in time. We are projecting a high of 45 degrees. As you notice, there's rain associated along the front, but it's further south of our area. So we're not really expecting a lot of rain Tuesday. I think we'll get more rain on Sunday afternoon as a cold front approaches, and then some more rain on Monday. Looking at temperatures, the coldest air remains up over central and eastern Canada. So you notice how it's mainly staying farther north, basically above the United States at this point in time. Moving on to Wednesday, 21 December, we have the area of high pressure now situated over West Virginia, just to our west of southeast Virginia, 1,028 millibar high. We do have a weak area of low pressure that develops along that stalled boundary offshore, 1,018 millibar low. Not very strong. We really don't anticipate many impacts from it. We do have the coldest air again continuing to remain over central and eastern Canada at this time. So now looking very cold after today's cold shot, the very cold Arctic air we had today. Looks like we're going to have some moderating temps by middle to latter part of next week. The 22nd of December, next Thursday, as we get closer to the Christmas holiday, the area of low pressure that was offshore is now gone, and further offshore, we do have a 999 millibar low over the Great Lakes area, but notice there is a front out to the northwest of our area at this point in time. By Thursday, we should have highs back in the 50s across southeast Virginia, a little bit more seasonable, with the normal high this time of year being 52 degrees. There is a little pocket of cold air that descends on the backside of this low pressure system. It descends into the Great Lakes and upper Midwest, dropping the temperatures between -6 and -10 Celsius there. We do have a little bit of warmer southwesterly wind flow out ahead of the cold front, as indicated by these wind vectors into southeast Virginia. So our temperatures at 5,000 feet are going to warm, and therefore, again, we expect our surface temperatures to warm as well into the 50s on Thursday, 22nd. Friday, the 23rd of December, that cold front that was to our west, watch what happens here. So there's a cold front, and there's a little low there. As I mentioned, the 999 millibar low, that's going to have enough push to go ahead and push the cold front through southeast Virginia. So by next Friday, the 23rd of December, temperatures actually do get pretty cold again, dropping off from the 50s on the 22nd, Thursday, all the way down into the upper 30s to low 40s for high temperatures next Friday. So it will be cold again. We do not have any moisture in the area of southeast Virginia, so we're not expecting any wintry type precipitation. That looks like it'll be mainly confined to the Great Lakes areas with the northwest flow, great lake effect snows into western Pennsylvania, into northeast Ohio, and western New York State. You can see that little area, that little pocket of cold that was over the Great Lakes and upper Midwest has shifted a little bit over towards the east coast at this point in time next Friday. So that will drop our temperatures again. It did turn our winds also to more of a west-northwest direction. So we do expect some colder conditions by the end of next week. And then here's a look at Christmas Eve. I know a lot of you may have travel plans. We do have a 1028 millibar high that has now positioned itself offshore, 1,004 millibar low over southeastern New Mexico. The colder air has pivoted. That was once over the east, is now moved out. The low but cold air has moved out and offshore. So we're looking for a dry Christmas Eve. The winds are going to start turning around more to the southwest, so conditions will get a little milder again. It was a quick cold shot there, the 23rd. But after the cold shot, this quickly pivots off the cold air. The pocket of cold air moves off, and we'll be back to returning some mild air into southeast Virginia. All right, so here's a look at Christmas Day, 2016. We have a new frontal system that's forming out to the west-northwest of southeast Virginia. A lot of rain from Texas up into western Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So that stays pretty much to the northwest of our area. We will have southerly, south-southwesterly wind flow on Christmas Day, so we are expecting a mild Christmas Day. At least that's the way it looks right now. The heaviest rain will stay off to the west. However, as the day progresses, especially towards evening Christmas Day, keep in mind this chart is for 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as we get closer to evening hours on Christmas night, we may actually see some of this rainfall starting to move into our area out ahead of the next cold front. Colder Arctic air is trying to build at this point back over the northern plain states and upper Midwest. And here's an 850 at 5,000 feet. The coldest temperatures remain over central Canada. They're not spilling into the south into the United States like they have so far for the month of December. The winds turn around to the southwest, as I mentioned, out ahead of the cold front. So the winds are going to be now bringing much warmer air in again on Christmas Day. So we're looking for highs on Christmas Day between 55 and 60 degrees. Fairly dry for the majority of the day, but again, in the evening, this rain will start approaching and moving into the area. All right, now let's take a look at a quick brief return of Arctic air and snow. This is the 28th of December, the morning of the 28th. What I find interesting is we have a 1037 millibar high just to the north of Lake Superior, funneling in a lot of colder air. We do have an area of low pressure. It's a fairly intense low at 992 millibars situated off of the Gulf of Maine and the Gulf of Maine there. We do have some strong, tight thickness packing here. So we do have a fairly significant cold front that's dropping through southeast Virginia on the 28th of December. Again, it's pretty far out, and we're looking at about 288 hours out from today, so we'll keep an eye on it, but there's just some thoughts. The way things look right now, we even have a little bit of snow in our area, which could be the first snow of the season if that were to become a reality as we get closer to the time period. This is a quick hitting shot of cold, however. Then we look at New Year's Eve, just show you a quick look at New Year's Eve, and we're fairly seasonable New Year's Eve. There's a high pressure system over North Carolina and ridging into southeast Virginia, so things will be dry. You'll have trickier travel if you're going to go out New Year's Eve, if you're heading up from southeast Virginia to Ohio, eastern or western Pennsylvania. Some more rain shower activity back in the lower Mississippi Valley. So right now, New Year's Eve looks dry and fairly seasonable. Temperatures mid to upper 40s. Not out of the question for New Year's Eve. All right, so let's take a look at the long-range thoughts. Final thoughts. We will have a colder period on 19 and 20 December. That's coming up this upcoming Monday and Tuesday. A very mild weekend, 65 to 70 degrees on Sunday. Then we're back down to lower 40s on Monday and low to mid 40s on Tuesday for highs. We will have periods of rain in there on Monday especially. Tuesday looks drier at this point. High temperatures, again, as I mentioned, lower to middle 40s both days, and then the lows in the 30s. For after that cold shot, we have a brief warm-up in store on 21 and 22 December, with high temperatures returning to seasonable levels. And then a brief shot of colder Arctic air moves in on 23 December, but conditions are dry, so we don't expect any travel problems for those of you that are traveling for the holidays out of the area. The conditions look dry. Mild Christmas with rain moving into southeastern Virginia ahead of an approaching cold front. That'll happen closer to evening. Like I said, the majority of Christmas Day looks dry and fairly mild, with temperatures between 55 and 60 degrees on Christmas for a high. So slightly above normal for this time of year. And then a return to much colder around 28 December. And if moisture were to move into this colder air, we could see our first bout of wintry precip in the area. Again, check back with Spot On Weather for further updates as we get closer. And then New Year's Eve looks dry and mild. Just keep in mind that could change rather quickly. We're talking about a very extended outlook type period, and things change, whether we have amplifications in the jet stream one way or another, ridges and troughs. Will that southeast ridge that I talked about yesterday, will that build up the eastern seaboard? Will that ridge up to this all the way up to the mid-Atlantic region? That could have a warmer implication. Or will the troughs dig out a little more from the polar front jet? That would have a colder implication. So again, stay with us at Spot On Weather. We'll keep you updated. Don't forget that we post the graphical forecasts as a reminder in Twitter and Facebook. We posted a forecast earlier today, so check it out sometime and subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. That is all I have for now. Spot on weather. If we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Have a great afternoon and enjoy your weekend, everyone.